All right, guys, thank you for tuning in to how to make thousands of dollars with email marketing. I know everybody kind of says that in the guru space, but if you stick with me, this presentation is one that I have delivered to literally hundreds of people, usually live, and every single time it's been met with rave reviews. And I'm always blown away by even the veterans of the industry who come up to me, and either they've heard something said a new way this time and they kind of got it this time, or they hear of a new tool or something. So stick with me. There's going to be some really powerful stuff here. This is 90% content, and I think you'll really enjoy it. So first, let me spend a few seconds explaining why I know for a fact that email is the most powerful tool on the web. Fact is that Twitter's like shouting in outer space. Google is constantly changing the rules for SEO. I can honestly say that pay-per-click costs are constantly going up, and your Facebook fan page shows to 7% of your fans whatever you post, unless you boost it. So email is the only place where you're going to be able to, at minimum, hit 28% opens to your tribe, and probably hit 90 to 95% of them of those who actually wanted to open it. Obviously, with hot emails, you can even get 40 or 50% opens. It's simply not possible on any other platform. So relationships are powerful. Storing tiny bits of information about people can be really, really impactful and useful. Remembering who they are and such. In fact, I want to tell a quick story about how Bill Clinton, before he got elected, even to the Senate, he used to carry around little index cards, and he would write down facts about people. And there's one story in a book I read where he was saying that he got to know this bartender, and he'd written down the name of his daughter Ashley, and the fact that she had she was going to university or whatever. And so when he saw this man again, and the man didn't recognize him, he said, "Hey, Steve, how's your daughter doing? I think you said she was taking legal, was it?" And that was one of the ways that he was able to get elected, was he had a humongous body of people who were behind him, all because he had learned little factoids about them so that they felt connected to him. So relationships are really powerful, and data is powerful. What if I told you that you could collect the name, age, gender, etc. of people, including their likes and everything, through their social media accounts, even what time of day, what accounts they're on, and more, without even asking them for it, just using their email address. So we're going to get into that in this presentation. Also, speaking of getting to know, these people and really kind of personalizing things for them, email lets you do something else social and other platforms can't do. You can track who bought something, track who opened an email. You can track their interests based on what they opt in through or through the other tools I'm going to mention. Track who clicked on what links. You can even ask them questions and have the links be the votes. Based on surveys and, activity levels, lead scoring, or even, gender, or based on survey questions as well. So email lets you do that kind of personalization that no other tool can. I want to tell a little story about how powerful email relationships are, just so that you have, this, as well. When I used to work at the Internet Marketing Center, which was at its peak, a $50 million a year business, we had a team of writers writing the emails. And, in the beginning of the email list, there was 800,000 people on this email list. It was Corey writing the emails. Now, at some point, Corey wrote what I call a voice doc, which I teach people to do. And he had writers doing it. And these people had no idea that they weren't from Corey anymore, because the voice was exactly the same. So, skipping ahead, down the road, Corey decides that, he meets this girl and he's going to get married. He lets the list know that, the office is going to be closed, and they also decided to do this marketing reception type thing. The second he announced that, there were cards and flowers and letters and you name it showing up at the front door. So much so that when I went into the office that day to walk to my tech support position and eventually working at the coaching department there, you couldn't even get through the reception area. It was just packed. And again, I want to stress that these people only knew Corey through email. There was no other way they knew him. So, that's really possible. And that's one thing I can show you how to build that personal feel. So one email, you could be one email away from either helping build a school in Africa, or buy the car you want, fundraise, to maybe get the research set up for a cure for cancer, or build a new home. You can take over the world with email marketing. Sounds a little cheesy, but in your own special way, you definitely can make an impact with just email marketing. So I want to tell a story about this one client I had. In fact, a client I worked with years ago, where we started with 200 monthly paying members and about 3,000 email subscribers. And after, a certain period of time spending over 600,000 in AdWords, we had, I want to say, about 467,000 prospects, and closer to about 9,000 paying monthly subscribers. And so I would say things were going pretty well. And then AWeber freaked out. We did one marketing test, and at this time I didn't really know a humongous pile about email marketing, and AWeber kicked us off. And it was horrifying. For those of you that don't back up your list on a regular basis because you think, oh, well, I don't send, weight loss, business opportunity, or any of those things, you're dead wrong. So this was literally church training material. You can't get more. First of all, they opted in for it. And second of all, these are pastors in a very religious, non-spammy, non-salesy material. And we freaked out. So for 3 days, you can imagine, as me being the freelancer and him being the client, I was freaking out about what if we don't get this list back? What happens next? Etc. 3 sleepless nights, I finally get a hold of AWeber. Turns out that it was an algorithmic decision, and it was a pure accident, and they restored the account. But I always say they spooked the horse. And so we learned to build custom email servers. And in that process, I wrote the only book on email deliverability that was ever written on Amazon, called Maximum Open Rates. But this was really what launched my career into email marketing. So it forced me to learn what ESPs, email service providers like AWeber, GetResponse, iContact, MailChimp, etc., are looking for in emailers and what concerns them, etc. So we started building servers, and we would basically build an open and click list. We had a custom automation script which would remove and suppress the unengaged, because that's what you want to do. You want to, over time, remove anybody who's 6 months, 9 months, they're never ever opening or clicking on anything. And this script really replaces, back in the day, you would have these things called a digital email coordinator, or a DEC. And, you'd pay one of those at least $40,000 a year as a salary to do the job. And now we could replace those. And we'd have the Amazon benefits of the regular backups and snapshots. So if something went wrong, we could go back to Thursday at 3 o'clock and reinstate it. So, I just mentioned this a minute ago, but basically, yeah. So the day I screwed up, I was, using a piece of Windows software, an antiquated email system called Aerial Campaign. Double-clicked it, sent the mailing out twice. AWeber would have banned us, AWeber did ban us, actually. But, oh, shoot, here I'm telling the story the wrong way. So, anyway, on the email server, I actually screwed up one day, and I double-clicked that Aerial Campaign software. We didn't get in trouble. In fact, I was able to have us back online in a few hours, just because of how much safer an email server is compared to ESPs. The metrics and data are always safe. So anyway, email's kind of like the new SEO, because there's the spam filters that you've got to reach to hit the inbox. Just like SEO, there's a huge amount of traffic available once it's reached. I've got clients that, they're getting 20% opens, and if you can hit 30%, you can, 10% increase in visibility and sales is always huge. There's all kinds of tech tricks to get there. And obviously there's the Google Promotions tab and that kind of thing. So some people see it like this, and, this is just a joke about how hard search engines are to understand. Here's some deliverability factors. I'm just going to actually share everything directly with you. So actually, I'll show you something even deeper than what's just written on my slides. So one of the things you can do to get amazing deliverability is get certified through somebody like Return Path or one of the other major certification engines. But the truth is that all Return Path really does is make you follow certain best practices. And so by following the best practices, you get a very, very similar result. So the best practices are basically responding right away to unsubs. I know that sounds silly, but there are some systems that will continue to email after the fact. Opt-in strategy, making sure that either they're confirmed or you have some way to validate the email addresses. I can talk about third-party validation another time if you don't want to do opt or double opt-in, but anyway. Removing and suppressing the unengaged, we kind of talk about that. If they're not opening or clicking on anything, get rid of them. Either that or at least put them into only the newsletter kind of list. And anyway, removing hard bounces, removing soft bounces after the third. Engagement factors. So engagement monitoring is just the opens and clicks. DKIM and SPF, which are the authentication, and of course there's DKIM, SPF, and DMARC. Properly formatted HTML, careful wording selection, just because you don't want to say words that'll hit the like Viagra, that'll hit the spam assassin triggers. Equal image to text, monitoring the abuse at and postmaster at on your domain. The volume and consistency, you don't want to start mailing too fast too soon, and obeying the laws of the CAN Spam Act type things. Now off your system, meaning things that aren't on your server, there are things like the accreditation program I mentioned, blacklists, making sure you're not on them. In fact, I'll tell you a way that you can monitor blacklists easily as well, but that's for later. Anyways, feedback loops are basically keeping an eye on how many numbers of spam complaints you get. ISP whitelisting, which is something you can do when you actually strike a relationship with the postmaster at AOL or Hotmail, for example. And ISP level filters and rules and management, which off system means that you don't have any control over this, but you can be mindful of the fact that, for example, Gmail's rules really like engagement. So, and even people to click reply. So if you encourage people to say, hey, just go ahead and click reply to this email and tell me blank, that helps. Yeah, so email content strategies. Let's talk about fueling the machine a little bit here. So increasing your list loyalty is critically important. Getting people to kind of fall in love with you. Aside from the Dale Carnegie classic tips, let's just kind of go through some of my personal views on how you can build loyalty. So your list are your tribe members. They're a community, and communities have certain things about them, like central stories or central myths, rituals, ethics, emotional experiences, sacredness, kind of like the nothing runs like a deer for John Deere, is that sort of central story, and also a little bit of the sacred words. Same thing with the old Steve Jobs kind of thing, and things like that. The here's the crazy ones. That's sort of a mantra or a manifesto. So your welcome email has to kind of welcome them to the tribe or family or what have you. So maybe I'll talk a tiny bit about Tom's Shoes. I sometimes do this because I think about tribe induction when I think about the way his company works. So if you don't know who Tom's Shoes is, Tom's Shoes are a shoe that when you buy a pair, somebody in another country somewhere gets a pair of shoes too. And so this story went viral, and the shoes kind of really got popular based on this story of the whole one-for-one thing. And so basically one day Blake Mycoskie who's the founder of Tom's, was walking through a New York airport, And I guess because of some fundraiser or something, he had shaved his head, so he wasn't really super recognizable. Or maybe his hair was different somehow. Anyway, he saw some lady wearing Tom's shoes, which of course was the company he's CEO of and founder of, and he said, "Hey, nice shoes," and she was like, "They're Tom's," and he was like, "Okay." And he just kept walking. And she was like, "No, you don't get it." And she came over and grabbed him by the collar and told him the story of Tom's shoes. And that's why I think it's, obviously it's kind of funny because it was his company and he was just bugging her. And that he already knew the story. But she had bought the story. So, I have to ask, if somebody were to say, "Hey, this is so-and-so's product," would your customer grab somebody by the collar and say, "Hey, no, you don't understand. Because I bought these, somebody else got a pair of shoes," or whatever that central story is. Anyways, so event-based campaigns. So we talked about the welcome email, which kind of welcomes them to the tribe. Now, once in the tribe, there are pre-launches, which of course are part of a launch. There is hints, background info, anticipation, if you're trying to build anticipation of something, stating a date and developing a sublist, answering objections, social proof, scarcity, reinforcement, last chances. There's consumption emails, and this is something interesting that I don't see too many people teach. I build a campaign for when somebody's bought something already, because I want them to experience the product. And if they don't use the product, not only at a high rate of refund potential there, but I find that they're what's the words I want to use? I find that they're also less satisfied. And less satisfied customers they don't remember what they buy so much as they remember the feeling that company produced. So when you think about, the iPhone you bought or iPad, like if you had a great experience the last time you bought that or enjoyed that or worked with that company's materials, obviously that's how you're going to feel about the whole brand. So consumption emails remind them, say you send them an ebook, whether it's a free one or a paid one, doesn't matter. What if the follow-up email said, "Hey, did you check out page 13? I know I couldn't believe that worked either. If you haven't checked it out yet, please do, because that story was really powerful." So you can see how consumption emails kind of work. Nurture campaigns is pretty straightforward. You can use these for sales, but they're really just a great way to send out a little content campaign of, introducing the company, the values, the central story, and just really communicating, introducing the products or what have you in a non-salesy way. Now, I want to touch base for a second outside of the content stuff, because that was just kind of a taste of the content stuff that that I do, about big data. It is possible to get to know your entire list and learn a bunch of things about them by using things like this tool you see in front of you here. This tool's called Wrap or Tower Data, I believe. There's another one out there called Rapleaf, but I believe this is Tower Data. Either way, where you can pay, you upload your list and it'll tell you how many of your contacts match, and then it'll tell you demographic, psychographic data on your list, so you can segment them based on that information. You can also use things like attentive.ly to actually figure out what time of day your clients post, what platforms they're on the most, how many times they post, what other influencers they're connected with, etc. So, so I want to talk for a second about where I think technology is going. So in the 60s, we had mainframe computers. In the 70s, we had mini computing and, personal computers by the 80s. By the 90s, we had, wide-scale internet. By 2000, we had the ability to keep the internet in our hands. In 2014 and beyond, we were seeing the wearables. Now in 2017, of course, wearables are even taking on a new level where, the Apple Watch and the Asus Zen and Samsung Gear watches are taking over. And we're seeing technology get smaller and smaller and smaller. In fact, laptops are down by over 22 million in sales. Desktops down by 11 million. Tablets are up by 93 million, and we're constantly seeing these numbers rising and rising and rising to the point where it's really cell phones and watches that have got all the internet's traffic. In fact, here's a picture of the 90s and the 2000s at rock concerts, and here's a picture of the Vatican in 2005 and 2013. In a short time span, more rapidly than ever, things are changing. And so I'm just going to end this here by saying that today we need to build relationships with these people electronically, because all the other platforms are just not ideal. So if you're watching this and you've looked at some of the things that I had to share about email marketing, and I certainly just scratched the surface. I would have loved to have shared more, but I'm sure most people wouldn't have time to do that in this short presentation. Here's the bottom line. I'm going to be doing an actual live over the internet email mastery workshop on October the 4th. That'll be the first session. So anybody who's registered by then will be able to, or I should say before then, will be able to come on the live phone calls. And this is how we do those things, by the way. We do those calls using a webinar platform, but everybody can jump in and chat, ask questions. We do the content for about 30 minutes or so, going over a specific technique or idea. There's a handout and there's a Q&A session after that, which is your chance to ask almost everything. We'll open up multiple email platforms, not just one. I don't believe in, limiting ourselves to one platform. I'm a master of probably about 9 platforms or more. So it doesn't matter whether you're using MailChimp or Klaviyo or Infusionsoft. I'm certified with Infusionsoft, or with everything from Aerial Campaign, ArtBreach, iContact, GetResponse, Aweber. It doesn't matter. Use them all, and I can certainly help with any of those. So let's talk for a few seconds about what would you get if you actually, joined us with that. So chances are you're not getting the connection or the money that you could be getting from your list. You could be serving them better and receiving more profit. So basically that's what you'd get. Let's talk about what we'd cover. So we're going to be covering, number one, the core metrics that matter for both the marketing platform itself, for the marketing side, how am I doing in terms of growing a relationship, and the email providers in terms of not getting kicked off and getting good results. So we're going to be talking about collecting email addresses with the right thought leadership, which has a huge impact on how you got them on the list, and how and whether they're going to convert. Obviously, people who've been forced onto the list or who've been tricked onto the list are not going to buy as rapidly as those who pretty much fell over themselves to enter their email address to get what you have. So effectiveness with regards to that, which opt-in offers kill it and which ones suck. I've launched probably over 1,500 opt-in offers over the years, and I can tell you which ones rocked it and which ones killed, and we're going to go over the ones that work best. Using copy that actually feels human. I mean, we want to be treated like human beings and like we're cared about and, such. So plenty of templates to kill writer's block and make you feel like, I'm on the right track. I'm using something that I know generated X amount of dollars and works well. Reaching inboxes consistently, how to stay out of the promotions tab if possible, and or when possible. What else would we cover? Well, we're going to also talk about how to break your list up into specialized segments that really are specific to your business, when to automate and when not to automate, how to test your emails before they go out. The testing tool that I use not only checks the content, your authentication, which that's really nerdy, but you want to make sure that's working. But it also checks to see if you're on blacklists. It checks all your links to make sure you have no broken links in your email. And it gives you a little preview so you can get a chance to read it and kind of see it. So we're also going to talk about how to make sure that it looks good in all kinds of different email clients. You don't have to do this all the time, but it's pretty smart to know how to do it. What else? Well, we talk about how to clean your list from the 9 different email poisons. Here's some examples: bots, dormants, invalids, bounces. There are 9 poisons, and I'll teach you about those. How to monitor your reputation score, and what makes up that score. Now, that can seem pretty advanced, but it only takes a few seconds to do that, and it's a good idea to at least know where you stand. And one more point of, preventing things from breaking. And talk about the 5 different types of campaign styles, like actual templates or wording that you can use. Different types of email campaigns that can sell things in a non-salesy way. How to access a database of past subject line open data for free, which is really powerful. It's like based on over 4 billion subject lines. It'll tell you which one rocks best. We talk about how to warm up a dead list if you've got one, or if you know somebody who has one that you could easily help with. Past buyer lists, what you can send them that won't piss people off, frankly. I mean, cold prospects are really easy to get offended if they don't remember you. They don't know why you still have permission to send them, and all of a sudden you're in their inbox. So you'll get access to the email marketing wiki full of tools, templates, and guides. Delivery of this program is usually done over 10 weeks, although sometimes we go a bit longer if we've got a few extra things to cover. Includes access to private chat support, so you're never going to sit there and think to yourself, geez, I'm stuck, and here was this promise I was going to be able to figure out who's on my list, what they want, and how I can serve it to them, and now I'm stuck. So that's not going to ever happen. How valuable is this? So I've had clients who had membership sites who between their membership site and ebook sales were generating $2.1 million a year. I've had a company with a cold email list that was freezing cold over a year. They'd never emailed them and generated $62,000 in 3 days. I've had physical product sales companies generate $41,000 in just 45 days. It's my vision that I'll be teaching this to agencies as a system so they can follow it up for their own clients. And I think for the agency version, it's going to be about a $2,500 program, because if you think about it, just running an audit on a client's email system, they could encounter thousands of dollars in things they'd need to fix just to kind of get their campaign up and running, that they'd easily be able to between a handful of clients or more, be able to get that money back pretty rapidly. But for entrepreneurs, I've been thinking about charging $9.97, but wait a second, because $9.97 is a really good deal, actually, when you think about my consulting rate. And if a person got stuck and and certainly they could easily make $1,000 back pretty easily. It's a pretty good deal, but I'm temporarily, as we work some kinks out of this most recent version of this course, I'm thinking of offering it for just $4.99 Canadian. That's tax included. You will not see a better deal from an email marketing expert with the same amount of years experience as me offering something like this. But keep in mind, this is a limited deal. It's really just because I've got some new material I want to try out, some new templates and new resources and tools that I want to put out there. So if you act fairly quickly, drop me an email at info@answerswanted.com. Actually, I could even just create a new slide and show you the info@answerswanted.com. You feel free to email me about this. This is not for everyone. Not everyone is invited. If you're interested, you can drop me an email and I will let you know if we still have spaces. We are going to be taking 10 people through this program, plus a few special guests and other experts that I'm going to have along the way for you to ask questions to. But again, only 10 people, and very, very, very good deal, because if you think about it, for that period of time that we're going to be working together and talking about all these different things you can implement in your business, you'd never get that kind of a value for that. So thank you for sticking around to the end. If you have any questions, same email address, info@answerswanted. I'd be happy to answer them. But other than that, hope you're having a great day. It's a beautiful day today. I think the sun's trying to come out here. So I hope there's sun somewhere wherever you are, and we will talk soon.